Now that we have all of the background information about factored form by copying the chart above, we're going to go ahead and work on our first example, being able to use that to now graph an equation when I give it to you in factored form. So I've got an example of a factored form equation right here, and I went ahead and wrote out the steps for us so we can just jump straight into the example. So step number 1 says that we need to identify the intercepts and then graph them. Well, we know in factored form they're talking about the x-intercepts, and those come by looking at the equation. The two numbers in the parentheses we know are going to be the x-intercepts, but we need to be careful. I know that the actual intercept is opposite of how it appears in the equation. So when I see a +1, I know that means I actually have -1, 0 as an intercept, and -5 means that I have an intercept of 5, 0. So take the opposite of what you see. Now I can go ahead and plot those 2 points, -1, 0 and 5, 0. So I've already got a start to my graph. Now step number 2 tells me that I need to now find what the axis of symmetry is. Now I know the axis of symmetry is symmetric between those two intercepts because it's symmetry, so whatever happens on one side, the same thing's happening on the other. So all we have to do is find the halfway mark between our intercepts. So I count my way in, so we're going to count 1, 2 over, and it looks like that middle spot is falling right on the line x is equal to 2. So I draw that in, and then I'm going to write out my equation. X is equal to 2. So I know that now I know where my center of the graph is, and I'm also halfway to knowing my vertex. That is going to be the x-coordinate of the vertex. So we've got 2 something. We just got to figure out what that something is. That's what step number 3 is for. We can now take that x value and plug it in to the equation that we were given to figure out what y is. So we've got -2 + 1 and 2 - 5. And you can go ahead and plug that entire thing straight into your calculator to get that answer. When I did that, I found that I ended up with y equals 9. So I know that my vertex is at the point 2, 9. So I can go ahead and plot that next piece. Now the last thing to do, step number 5, use the a value and what we know about the special point relationships of a quadratic graph to be able to plot the rest. Well, looking here, I've got an a value of -1, which means I'm not changing my special point relationship, I'm just changing the direction that I'm going. So instead of over 1, up 1, we have to go over 1, down 1 in both directions. Over 2, down 4 on both directions. Now when I go over 3, I know I'm supposed to be going down 9. So if I go down 9, I see that I hit my x-intercept. So I know that I'm graphing this correctly because I know those are points already. So it's good to just check to see, does that point fit in with your special point relationship. So I've definitely got enough here to be able to graph. So I'm going to connect my points. And then I have got a completed graph. Now I've got 2 examples on the next page that I would like you to try, being able to write or to create the graph from the equation, and then check your answers on Schoology.